What is going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I make millions of rubles in a very short time. Now, the way that I do this is by doing scav runs on Shoreline and hitting all of the Jaeger stashes. Now, before we go any further, I do know that there are a lot of people out there that are going to be in the comments going, but I like to do stash runs on Lighthouse, da 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 da. This is not me saying that this is the best stash run. This is not me saying that there aren't other things that you can do to make a lot of rubles. But what I am saying is that this is a very safe, easy, quick loop that you can do on Shoreline, and you can make a lot of rubles in a very short amount of time. Yes, I know that Lighthouse has some amazing loot. I know that you can find Bitcoins, Vertexes, phased arrays on that map. But there's a lot of risk involved in that map. You have to worry about rogues, other player scavs, PMCs. Honestly, when I do this Shoreline run, I barely ever see anyone. And then if I do, they're usually pretty cool. So with that being said, let me show you my stash run on Shoreline. All right, perfect. Oh, dude, okay. So here's the other thing that I want to point out. I don't ever go to the resort, really. All right, this is extremely low risk. Normally, I'll get in at about this time, usually 19 to 21 minutes is my average time frame. And this loop will work regardless of where you spawn for the most part. Now, first thing you want to do is look at your extracts. This one right here, North Fence Passage. North Fence Passage is the one that I always hope to get. Sometimes I don't get it and I'll get Admin Basement, but it's very rare. Like 90% of the time I have North Fence Passage. Great extract, safe, the one that I usually take. I don't normally come up to the weather, but since we spawned up here, it's usually okay. Like if we spawn up here, we might as well check and see what's going on. But like I said, this isn't a normal spawn area, so I don't normally add this to my route. But if you're here, might as well add it. There's going to be a couple of boxes to start with right here. Also, always make sure you're checking to see what you specifically have on you. PP19 we'll pick up for now. Not super worried about that. Remember, pick up everything to start with on your scav runs. A lot of new players don't do this. They'll just be like, oh, well, that's not really worth anything. If your slot is empty, guess what? Anything is worth more than zero. So we're going to come in, hit a couple duffel bags, see if any of this has been looted, yada, yada. Nothing here. Hit this med bag. A splint. That'll be nice. All right, come up here, see if the safe's been hit. And the safe was not hit. Boom. A lot of times this stuff is not hit, and you can just loot up. Also, check over here for graphics cards and other high-tech spawns that you can get. Don't really see anything, so we're just going to bounce out of here and start the normal loop here. About to hit right here. This is a sometimes I will, sometimes I won't start here. Sometimes I'll just bypass it because it's one that normally gets hit a lot, and it's not really worth coming here. But this is the side of the map. See, this one was already hit since we've been in. All right, so we're just gonna hit close. So what we're gonna do is now move over to our next stash, which is gonna be right this direction. But this is the loop. We're going to stay on this side of the map, the east side of the map. We're going to hit all of these Jaeger stashes over here. And then, depending on what we have, we'll determine if I decide to go into this resort or not. And I usually make it to the resort with about 5 to 8 minutes to spare to kind of run through it. Normally, no one's there by that time. But we'll see what happens today. Now, what you're going to want to do for your next stash is find this group of rocks right here. There's your 2 abandoned houses. You're going to run right up here. And it's going to be right here in this bush. Absolutely nothing that time. Go ahead and keep on moving to our next one. Could have been hit already. That is a possibility. Now, the way that I personally like to go is I will go across here. and I will go across the street, hit this stash that I'm about to show you, and then move back to the other side. Normally, if scavs had spawned earlier here, you would find their dead bodies. That's also something that you can loot to find some stuff, but that's hit or miss. Pressure gauge, that's like 30K or something like that. Grab that. That one's empty. I think 2 of those had already been hit. Now, and here's the other thing. I know that I'm not hitting all the stashes. This is just the loot that I like to take because these are all kind of condensed together. I don't really have to go out of my way too much. There may be some that I'm missing that you know about that you may want to add into your loop, and that's perfectly fine. And do that. You know what I mean? It's all about what you're comfortable with. This is just what I'm comfortable with. This is the loop and the route that I like to take. It's one that I kind of came up with and just kind of did. Now, one of the big drawbacks about this one is your limited stash space. If you spawn in with something not too great, it does kind of hinder you a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and find a Model 3 armor, not really good, but that is the possibility. You can find anything from Model 3s to or from 3Ms all the way up to slicks. We're not going to take the car battery because because I don't have room for it, and it just weighs a lot. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to head right up top there, move to our next stash. There is going to be one on the fence up here. Drop the chlorine just in case we do need it. More than likely I'll drop the meds as we continue on. I always tend to. So then we're gonna run down this path right here, head straight over to this stash behind this bush, between the bush and the tree. Grab that pistol, leave everything else. I'm not too worried about that. All right, we're gonna approach this hill and grab this stash right here. Another belt rig? All right. So if you didn't have a big enough rig, finding a belt rig like that would have been awesome. We already have a belt rig. No reason to do that. What I do is I head up this and go to Grandma's house. There's 2 crates inside Grandma's house that nobody ever touches, and I don't understand it. Because you can get some really good stuff out of there. I found multiple mutants there, MDRs, things like that. Or sometimes just garbage. RK2, we'll definitely take that. Drop that. That's going to sell. We'll take that. Drop that. And then we'll definitely grab this also. Usually what I do is I will throw out my ammo before I throw out anything else, or my meds, depending. on what I need. Now, this is where our decision making comes in. So depending on what we have in our stash and in our inventory is where we're going to determine where we go from here. I'm pretty happy with what I have so far. It's not great. It's not a lot of money. The OFZ shell is going to be good. The RK2 is going to be good. Now is when I would decide, do I want to press my luck and go up to the resort, or do I want to just head towards the extract? In this instance, I'm just going to head to the extract. I don't really have a lot of space for anything else. Yes, there are a lot of computers to check for graphics cards, things like that. But there's really no point in pushing it at this, at all, because I do have some decent things. So what we're going to do is we are going to run this way and hit our last stash before we head out. And with 10 minutes left on the timer, I think it'll be a good time to go. Oh, yeah, it's right here. It's literally in the middle. So you go in between these two bushes. Tower's there. Rocks are there. It's right here in the middle of these two bushes. Clean, another splint, a hot rod. That's okay. All right, let's go ahead and get out, and we'll reset.